Today, in the previous video I showed you how to freeze your top two rows so you can scroll easily through your names, as well as sorting it according to surname and not student number. In this I will show you how to calculate test 1's percentage, and I've created a column here for the percentage. So you can start with the first student, and it's quite easy. You go to your editing area, and that will be equal your students mark divided by the grand total, which I added here as 45. So now you will see it displays your calculation as that figure, and you can just right click on that, go to format cells, change it to percentage, and for the purpose of these test marks I'm not going to use decimal places, so we can just replace that with 0, and you will see it rounds it up to 98. So that's basically how to calculate the percentage of a student. So if we copy this formula down to all the students, you will notice here some issues. So the first thing that we see is that obviously because these students' marks are the same, they should have the same percentage, but that didn't obviously not happen. So what changed? If you look at your formula here, instead of E2 it says E3, and the reason for that is because it copied it relatively to the first formula. So let's fix that first off. So to do that, instead of having the E2 here, we add $signs between the column and the row. That way the second value will be fixed no matter what we do with that in terms of copying it down. So if you keep it that way, you'll see it's still 98. And now if you copy this down, it will always use that 45 instead of relative to your area where you copied. The second issue we've got now is with the students that were absent during the test. So there's a couple of them here. So the way to fix that is basically to change your formula to not show the value error when it can't do the calculation. The reason we want that is if we want to do further calculations with these numbers, we might run into trouble if it sees that values, and it's quite easy to change that. So again, we go to the first one, and then the statement that we're going to use is if error. So we add that there, if error, and then we have our calculation. So that will be that the calculation will be in brackets. So if it will be E3 divided by $E$2, and if that creates an error, it must give you an empty cell, and to do that you just use the quotation marks with nothing between them, and you can delete that part of the statement. So now you'll see it's still 98, but the moment we copy it down, it will empty these error messages with no values. So that way we can use this column again for different calculations without running into trouble. In the next video I will show you how to calculate the average and how many students were absent, failed, pass, and pass with distinction. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video and found the information useful. Let me know in the comments if there's any other topics you would like me to cover, and to remember to hit the subscribe button.